Sinking funds can be a budget's best friend, and that's why I'm doing a series of videos to talk about how sinking funds fit into living life on a budget. In part 2 of the series, I'm going to talk about 4 sinking funds that will help you with some very common lifestyle expenses. Hi friends, welcome to the Budget Bounce. I'm Jen, and we use a budget to tell our money what to do, including bouncing debt out the door. We share our ups and downs from living life on a budget and tackling a $252,000 mountain of stupid debt. If you'd like to learn more about being intentional with your money and making it work for you, then click on that subscribe button below and be sure to tap on the bell so you'll get notifications every time I upload a new video. You can also find me on social media. Just look for the Budget Bounce. Let's review what a sinking fund is. Different than the emergency fund, these are funds that are set up for specific irregular expenses that you need to save for. Typically, you are saving a set amount of money over a period of time, like weeks or months, to get you to a savings goal. In the first video of this series, I talked about 4 sinking funds that everyone should have. I'll put that in a card up here for you so you can watch it. The point of that video was to share sinking funds that apply to pretty much anyone, regardless of your situation, because they're for irregular expenses that nearly everyone experiences. I got some great feedback from the community from that first video, and Lynn Morris wrote this comment that really helps represent the importance of sinking funds in your budget. I find the best way to explain why I consider sinking funds essential is to say regular costs are not emergencies and shouldn't come out of the emergency fund or upsetting the budget just because I wasn't prepared. That's such a great analogy. Now, I recognize that the use of sinking funds is a personal choice and not everyone feels the need to use them. There are a lot of people out there who feel that they are in a position to cash flow these types of things when they come up, especially if they have enough income to comfortably do so. Today I want to talk about sinking funds that fit 4 very common lifestyle categories. These are funds that fit lifestyle choices that you've made. Not everyone has a need for these sinking funds because not everyone has these 4 types of expenses in their budget. Before I jump into the list, I'd love to hear from you about which sinking funds you have that help you with your lifestyle expenses. You can leave me a comment below and just go ahead and pause the video if you need to, and then come right back. I've created a playlist for this series and I'll put it in a card up here for you so you can check it out. Check out all of the videos in one place. All right, so number 1, kids. I realize that having kids is the norm for many, and you may feel offended by categorizing this as a lifestyle choice. Please know I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's about the fact that having kids has such a huge influence on your lifestyle, and it's not necessarily applicable to everyone since there are more and more people choosing not to have children in the 21st century. That said, if you have kids, you know that there are a lot of expenses associated with them. Many of them are regular expenses that you build into your budget, but some of them come once or twice a year and they aren't always at a price point that you can cash flow in the month or budget cycle that they happen to hit. Examples include summer daycare programs, dance classes, school trips, and testing fees, just to name a few. I have friends who have a sinking fund specifically for the summer program that their kids attend, which costs several $1,000s. If you have your child in extracurricular activities like dance or sports or art classes, you may have to pay a lump sum up front once or twice or maybe 3 times a year for that. And if you're in a position to allow your child to go on school trips, those typically cost several $100s or several $1,000s for international trips. The kids oftentimes work on fundraising activities through the school to earn money to fund the trip, but you don't be fooled. You may very likely need to supplement their efforts, and you might need to save for several months or up to a couple of years for your child to go on that trip. Now, if your child ends up funding all or a large portion of the trip themselves, then you can use your saved funds for something else. For us, our youngest is a junior in high school, and he's in advanced placement classes that require an exam at the end of the year, as well as dual credit courses through the local community college. And then this spring, he will take at least one, if not two, standardized tests that will be used, by colleges for consideration with his applications. Along with those come prep courses, and all of those things that I've mentioned have fees associated with them that are above and beyond the normal annual fees associated with public school. I recently doubled the sinking fund for school to accommodate all of this, as well as saving for a graduation party that'll be next year in 2020. Number 2, pets. Pets is another thing that has a huge influence on your lifestyle and your budget. Lots of things are regular expenses like food, habitat supplies, and flea and tick or heartworm meds, but other things can come up that can really hit your pocketbook hard. That includes illness or injury that can cause vet expenses to skyrocket, and sometimes medical conditions like separation anxiety can require doggy daycare and regular meds. While you can build that into your budgets going forward, it can be a huge hit to your budget when you initially work through the diagnosis and have to add those regular monthly expenses into your budget. In 2016, we had the longest warm and wet summer and fall seasons in many years, and the fleas absolutely flourished in the Midwest. I had had pets in my home for over 20 years and had never experienced fleas ever on any of them. I cried at the vet because I thought we had done something wrong with the flea meds. She informed us that fleas were breaking through the flea meds that season because of the sheer numbers who were able to survive long enough to lay eggs. We had 5 pets at the time. We had 2 dogs and 3 cats. And the cats were all indoor cats who never ever went outside in their lifetime after we brought them home. The dogs brought the fleas in, of course, because they were outside. And even though they were both on monthly flea and tick prevention, the fleas were surviving long enough to infest the house. We spent over $2,000 in a 4 to 5 month period on spray for the house, Capstar pills to kill the fleas. There were special shampoos for flea baths that we did at home, monthly flea baths at the vet for all of the animals, and meds to help with itching and other adverse reactions by, I think there were 2 or 3 of them that had really adverse reactions to the flea bites. My point is that you can have the healthiest pets and it can take a turn very quickly, even when you're doing everything right to keep them safe and healthy. So having a fund set aside to help with the big unexpected issues is going to give you peace of mind. Even if you can only put aside a few extra bucks per month for this sinking fund, you will feel the benefit. Number 3, travel. Travel is another very popular lifestyle choice that a sinking fund can be very helpful for. It's not something that most people spend on during every budget cycle, and a lot of times the cost of travel is more than you can cash flow in a single month or budget cycle. So you can set up a fund to set the money aside every time you get paid. So let's think about what's involved in the cost of travel. Just on the most basic level, you've got airfare, car rental, gas, hotel, meals, fees for activities, as well as souvenirs if that's your thing. Even if you do travel hacks, you typically need a few $100s to pay for a trip for just one person. And if there's 2 of you going or a family, it's even more expensive, of course. Whether you travel a couple of times a year or once every 5 years, you can use a sinking fund. Figure out what budget you will need, figure out when you'll be taking the trip, and then divide the budget by the total number of months or paychecks until you'll actually go on the trip to get the amount that you need to save each time. So if your trip is going to cost you $900 and you have 10 months to save, then you need to set aside $90 per month. Number 4, vehicle repair or replace fund. Not everyone owns a vehicle, so there's that. But if you do, you need to have a sinking fund for repairs and or replacement. Some people combine them into one fund and others break this into 2 separate funds. It's whatever works best for you. It's a very personal choice, but the bottom line is you need to save something. Because if you have a car, it's likely you will have irregular and sometimes unexpected expenses at some point in time. This isn't about your oil change that you need to get every few months. You can probably cash flow that. This is about the $500 or more that you need for new tires, the $300 you need to change brake pads, or the other $300 you need to replace your alternator every few years. or heaven forbid, the repair bill when your transmission goes out, or the insurance deductible that you have to pay for repair to repair damage from an accident. You don't want unexpected or irregular vehicle maintenance or repair expenses to blow your budget. Without a sinking fund, these types of repairs can become a crisis and can do just that. Having a sinking fund for this will turn these types of things into an inconvenience. So those are the 4 lifestyle sinking funds that you should consider to complement your budget. Again, these are all very personal choices and don't apply to everyone, which is why I've classified them as lifestyle funds. Be sure to check out the playlist for the series in the cards, or you can find the link in the description box below. And stay tuned for more to come on sinking funds. Don't forget to comment below about which sinking funds are important to your lifestyle, and please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it and consider subscribing for more of our adventures in budgeting. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate that you take time out of your day to spend with me. And that's all I've got for you today. Until next time.